Art is pretty special in that I think art touches on every subject, right? And I think every discipline in an academic setting like ours is trying to answer the unanswerable questions within their field. And I think artists try to answer unanswerable questions, or at least approach unanswerable, I don't know, maybe not answer, but approach unanswerable questions in their own way. There's almost always going to be some art that's going to be connected to some field. And I think that's where I think the teaching museum has really opened my eyes for how I can connect my own work in physics to art.
At the Benton Museum of Art, we take our role as a teaching museum very seriously. We do view the collections here, generally speaking, to be teaching resources. We're very proud to host many class visits to not just our exhibitions that are also available on public view, but class visits to view parts of the collection in our study rooms.
As soon as I came to Pomona College, I started teaching from the Benton. I love bringing my classes to actually experience archives. And so the museums can be archives, the special collections can be archives, but I like my students to really get up close to what it is that we're thinking about, to give them sort of like a different entry point into some of the ideas that we're grappling with. I've taught in here for Introduction to Africana Studies, Unruly Bodies, Black Womanhood, and Popular Culture. I think museums offer a really unique opportunity for students to get close to primary sources so that they can actually do the kind of close reading, the kind of analysis that actually brings about the real intellectual growth that we want students to do here at small liberal arts colleges.
In my capacity as academic curator, I supervise our internship program, I work on exhibitions, and I work with faculty as the liaison between their curricula and our museum collections. In a liberal arts college environment, we have students from art history classes all the way to physics classes that come into the museum and try to make our collections useful or relatable to what they're teaching. It's important to facilitate classes coming into the museum because I think it, of course, enriches and reinforces what students are learning in their classrooms. We've had students who are taking printmaking classes and learning the mechanics of printmaking, but then it's different when they turn around and come in and actually look at historical examples of printmakers, their techniques and what they've made, because it can also perhaps show students different ways that type of art can be expressed.
What was abstract in the classroom suddenly becomes very real and physical and embodied. When you're holding a print or an object in your hands, you're not just reading about the history or philosophy or the aesthetic of a specific movement or a specific style. You're directly confronted by it.
We also have 25 interns this semester who are working in various departments from front of house to collections and registration, and learning kind of the behind the scenes of how a museum operates, and also being mentored by our staff here.
All of my classes at the Benton have been incredibly hands-on. I've been contributing to exhibitions as an intern. I've been doing primary archival research. When my friends came to the Benton for the opening of the exhibition, to be quite honest, I just expected them to be like, oh yeah, it's cool that you did this. But seeing them reading the wall text, reading the object labels, asking me questions about the art, it made me realize that the work that I do here is not just for myself. It most definitely is contributing to people's understandings of art and understandings of the world.
The museum does a really good job of sort of getting to know me and then understanding what I do and then understanding their collection and then synthesizing those two things together. So I think there's always something in the collection or something in a collection that they have access to that will connect to your work. And I think seeing how an artist might approach the questions that you're dealing with and contrasting those with how you've approached it in maybe a more scientific way that I have can be eye-opening. I think that's what the teaching museum is really about for me, is sort of teaching me. There will be some sort of connection between your work and art, right? And there's going to be some something deeper, something unanswerable that an artist has sort of taken it on themselves that I think might open your eyes and your students' eyes.
It is truly open to everyone. There's a reason admission is free. There's a reason there are class visits always every week. This place is by a former student of Pomona College, and it is truly for students. And so I think that my biggest thing is just step through the door as soon as you can, because there's so much that this museum can do for anyone in any discipline.